So someone asked me, Justin, what's the secret to living abroad? What's the secret to being able to exist outside of the United States, to make it work, to have a high quality of life still, despite some of the differences in cultures based off of the geography of where you're living versus what you're used to or accustomed to in the United States? So what is the secret? Well, the secret is being able to have income. You gotta have a remote or online job. You gotta be able to provide income for yourself if you are not in a place where you're already retired and you already have a bunch of savings that you're going to be living off of, or unless you're living off of investments. There's a lot of us that are in our 20s and in our 30s, and we want to travel, we want to go see other countries, but we can't because we don't want to spend all of our savings living abroad and then having to come back to our home country in order to effectively make money and continue to pay for our stuff, right? So what is the secret to living abroad? The secret is developing a specific set of skills where you become valuable to big companies or small companies that are willing to pay you for remote work. One example would be like becoming a website coder or programmer. It's an excellent skill set to learn. Like, programmers are in very high demand right now, and there's so many certification programs you can take, and there's also so many free videos on YouTube where you can learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Python, Ruby on Rails, and the list goes on. There's so many languages, but you can just pick a couple, and I can tell you HTML and CSS you can learn in a few days. They are so easy to understand. It's not like you're picking up a new alphabet. Like when you learn programming languages, it's in English, right? It's using the English alphabet and just characters on your keyboard when you're learning. Like I've taught myself HTML5 standards, CSS. I studied a little bit of JavaScript. I studied a little bit of PHP. When I was in college, before I dropped out, I studied Perl scripting. I'm not saying I was very good at it. I studied C++ objective programming, which I will tell you was difficult to learn. And I needed tutoring for that particular language because I found it to be very challenging. But anyways, so nowadays, that is one example of a skill set. There are many other types of skills you can learn to make yourself valuable to other companies. So marketing is huge. You know, if you're going to be a social media manager or some type of marketer who understands how Google search and engine optimization works, who understands how pay-per-click advertising works, whether it's on Google's advertising platform or YouTube, which is also owned by Google in case you didn't know, or Facebook or Instagram. And just so in case you didn't know, Facebook actually also owns Instagram. And TikTok and Pinterest, two other giant platforms that if you learn how to advertise on those platforms, and you can run ads for other people who have products or services or some type of business where they stand to gain a benefit from running ads on those platforms, you can make a lot of money. What kind of money are we talking, Justin? Certainly, I'm more than happy to tell you. You can charge anyone anywhere from $500 to $3,000 per month per client, depending upon the value that you bring to the table. And $3,000 per month for one single client, again, is not that crazy. There are some people out there who are charging $10,000 per month for a single client. Granted, it's probably a bigger client and a bigger company, but the person who has the skill set is bringing value to the table is justified and is definitely worth getting paid $10,000 a month to service that client's account for a TikTok. So where do you get started if you want to become a programmer or a marketer? Or let's talk about some other options that you could also do. If you are good at writing or good at translating different languages, like if you can speak multiple languages, you can offer translation services on Fiverr or on Upwork. There's so many other things you can do. Graphic design, video editing. What else is there? There's so many. Video animation. A lot of these services and skills are digital in nature because what you want to do is connect yourself to the online world, the internet. Again, what are some other things you can do for people remotely, not having to be in your country? Accounting, bookkeeping. Sometimes you can do administrative work completely remotely as well. Sales. Depending on the company you're working for, you can potentially do all the sales or marketing work abroad or remotely to the point where it wouldn't matter if your time zone changed. And those are a few types of jobs. You can also do businesses. So the marketing aspect was a business, kind of more of a self-employed entrepreneurial type of role. But you can get a job that's like that where you're managing people's social media as well. But these are only like 6 or 7 or 8 ideas I've given you that solve that problem of acquiring that skill. Because I see so many foreigners who come to Manila, Philippines or whatever, who are my age, but I know like unless like somebody else is financially supporting them and they're here for like a very different uncommon reason, they cannot stay here because again, Manila is relatively expensive. If you're not making and bringing in money. If you're living off your savings, it's not going to last that long. you're probably still, as an American or Westerner, going to spend about $2,000 a month here, unless you're like really into pinching pennies and having them, unless you really want to inconvenience yourself like out the wazoo and just like, you know, take jeepneys everywhere and use the Metroline system, which, by the way, I love the Metroline system, but like you're probably going to want to take Grab rides and stuff like that, you know, to not inconvenience the wazoo out of yourself. But a lot of these foreigners that I see coming here, like I know they're only going to be here for like a limited time. And it's funny, some of the locals are like, you know, enjoy your vacation or whatever. I'm like, no, I live here. And like, oh, it's like, okay. It's like, you're young. How can you probably not, like a lot of the other foreigners who live here, if they're young, they eventually have to leave. Like I've met other foreigners and they're here and they have a limit. And once they hit that limit, they have to go back to the United States because they're not able to make money from an online job or an online business, which is what we're talking about, right? And then you have a separate set of foreigners who are like aged 40, 45, 50, or 52, 53, age or higher, or in their 60s, and they come to Philippines or Thailand or Malaysia or Vietnam, and they already have a giant pile of cash because they worked their whole life already to save that money, and they probably have some investments and stocks and real estate, etc., maybe crypto, where they have some passive dividends and earnings that they can live off of. So they're kind of living off of their savings and off of that. So how do we acquire these skill sets if we want to be able to live abroad? What is the secret to being able to get clients if you want to do marketing? What is the secret to being able to get a high-paying job, like, you know, for American Express or for Honeywell or for any of those other large companies that are American-based in nature, that is remote in nature? So LinkedIn has a lot of job opportunities and offerings that you can see for what's out there and what's available. And there's also a lot of people, there's a lot of YouTubers who their entire channel is based off of teaching you how to code and also how to get a job. They have a lot of YouTube videos out there. That's not my niche, but I think it's a really cool one, and you can also check it out. And if coding is not for you, I recommend exploring a lot of the other options out there. You could become a YouTuber like me if you wanted to, for sure. You just pick a niche. Like for me, my niche is lifestyle, entertaining, informative videos throughout Manila or wherever I go. And I have the privilege of being able to have business and finance insights I can share with you because I have other successful businesses, like a website hosting business that's done very well. And I've had a software business, several software businesses in my past. I've done really well with affiliate marketing in my past. I've got a very successful coaching business I've been running for 8 years now, where I coach people, and I have another successful business that involves me running ads to my email list that I built for something entirely different. Those were skills I developed while I was still in the United States. I developed those skills very quickly. Nowadays, the amount of time it's taking to develop these skills is drastically shrinking. One great guy to follow for business advice is Alex Hormozi. Love that guy. One great guy to follow for finance advice is Graham Stephan. I have different perspectives to share on these topics than those two guys that I just mentioned. The three of us can probably give you a lot of valuable insight. And so for developing these skills, just find out what skill you want to develop, go to YouTube, determine if you'd rather have a job or if you'd rather have a business. You can always start a business while you have a job in the United States. And I wouldn't recommend you try to make money from something super unstable like crypto, because no matter how intelligent you are, you cannot predict the future and what's going to happen with crypto. You just can't. Unless you're that 1 in a billion and you just can see the future somehow and you're going to know what's going to happen with crypto. But what I recommend you do is do something more stable. Pick up a skill. Video editing, graphic design, okay? Becoming some type of YouTuber if you want to be a YouTuber like myself. Become a programmer, become a marketer of some sort. Specialize in one of those marketing skill sets and you'll have no problem, because what you do for others, you'll have to do for yourself, so the skill is the same. So your ability to get clients is the same exact skill you're using to get results for those clients. That's what marketing is, and that's why once you learn the skill, it's easy to get the clients, because if you're good at marketing, you can market for those clients. What is marketing? You're generating attention, interest, desire, and action for somebody else's stuff. Whether it's a book, whether it's clothing, whether it's food, whether it's supplements, whether it's whatever, software as a service. And this stuff becomes easier and easier and easier and easier the more you learn the language of how it works, the more you study other people who have done it successfully. When I look at people who are successful YouTubers, I'm like, the only reason why my channel hasn't taken off is because I haven't done challenge videos. It's that simple. The moment I make that decision to schedule challenge videos into my calendar, and then I follow through and I do the challenge videos like Mr. Beast or Ryan Trahan or Logan Paul or any of those other guys they do challenges, they schedule it, they do it, they don't think about it, they do it. Boom, my channel is going to blow up the moment I decide to do that. And I'm not looking at anyone else who does YouTubing videos that I don't need to look at. I'm just looking at the people that I'm trying to emulate. And that's exactly what you can do as well. So what's the secret to living abroad, Justin? Well, you've got to have the income. You've got to have the resources. You don't want to just live off your savings and your investments. You got to pick up a skill set, either from me or from other people on YouTube, or buy courses on Udemy, which you can if you want to, but I feel like a lot of the information on YouTube is honestly better than those paid courses most of the time. Why is the free content better? Well, us YouTubers are actually getting paid by Google to make content. So when you watch my videos, I get paid a small portion of ad revenue per 1,000 views. It's not a very large amount, but it adds up. The more views I get, depending on the country that's watching the movies or videos I make, it does add up, and it does help me. Eventually, I'll be getting sponsors. I've had many people reach out to me for sponsorships, and if you have something that you think is a good fit for my channel, reach out to me, justinspencerbusiness@gmail.com. I'm actually thinking about offering some of my services to my channel if I think it's a good idea for the business-minded folks who watch my stuff. But whether you're European, American, or you're from a different Asian country, or the oceanic regions like New Zealand or Tasmania or Australia, no matter really where you live, there's a lot of benefit from living in other countries, because you learn so much. You have contrast, you have perspective, you have comparison, different reference frames, ways to look at things from different types of people. It's so funny, like the discomforts that I feel in Philippines aren't actually like a bad or negative thing. I actually think it's kind of interesting to know I've had the most comfortable life before in Phoenix, Arizona. Now that I'm in Manila, a lot of things that were once very easy and simple or convenient are the exact opposite. Going to the movies, for example, there can be a random unexpected issue just going to the movie theater. Transportation there and back, or at the movies itself. Or going to the grocery store, there could be a problem that I would never expect to have in Arizona. And I just get used to it. And I think about, like, what are the reasons why I'm in the Philippines? Why do I allow this inconvenience to become a part of my normal daily lifestyle? And a lot of the Americans who are still in the United States who watch my channel are like, dude, why would you want to live in Philippines or Thailand or one of these other countries when the US is all about convenience and customer service and not making mistakes? That's what the US is about. Well, I'll tell you why. I am saving $40,000 a year more than you are if you have a six-figure salary with the foreign earned income exclusion, not including the foreign earned housing credit. Do you realize how fast I can get ahead with that math? That's ridiculous. That math is crazy. And if you live in New York or California, two really high tax states, watch this. If you live in New York, I was looking at my mom's mortgage the other day. My mom paid off her house a while ago, but I was looking at my mom lives in New York, okay? When you live in New York, and she lives like outside of the city, okay? She lives outside of the city, and there's so many taxes. Let me just try to break them down for you. You've got 4 different types of income taxes: federal, state, Social Security, Medicare, 4 income taxes. Then for the property taxes, if you're a homeowner and you own land, you have a tax to the school, a tax to the county. There's 7 or 8 or 9, maybe even 10 different ways you get taxed if you live in New York. It is crazy. There's 4 income taxes, and there's literally like 5 or 6 taxes. You got sales tax, and then when you own land there, it's just crazy. And I'll break it down for you. It blew my mind when I saw it, because like 50% of her monthly payment was not even principal and interest or insurance. It was literally taxes. I was like, what? It was crazy, because in Arizona the taxes are a lot less. But anyway, taxes aside, if I stay out of the United States for 330 days per year, and I go back to the United States 32, 33, 34 days per year, if I want to, and if I meet the physical presence test, okay, then and I can prove that to the IRS, then the IRS is like, okay, you only have to give us taxes for Social Security and Medicare on your W-2 salary that you pay yourself from your company, which I can make that 1/3, maybe 1/4, or maybe even up to half of what my total company's profits are, whatever a reasonable salary would be for the position for my company, right? And then so 2/3 of my income is completely like tax-free up until we get to the 112K limit, and then after that, the foreign housing credit can come into play. I have even more of a tax shelter, and then I could take legitimate business expenses against my earnings, and I can just make it so my taxes, my total effective tax rate, is so extremely low. It's probably going to be based off of whatever my income is, a single digit if it's like in the low 6 figures. Okay, it's going to be a high double digit if you stay there. So what is the secret to getting ahead in life is sometimes it's literally just leaving your home country, getting an online type of job, staying out of your home country. And here's the kicker: if you're from Canada or pretty much anywhere in the European Union or pretty much any other country on earth except for Eritrea in Africa or United States, those are the only 2 countries, you pretty much will live tax-free if you're not physically doing business in that country. Okay, so and you also live in that country less than 180 days a year. So if you live in a country 179 days that has a residence-based taxation system, you won't have to pay taxes in that country if you stay there less than 6 months a year. So you can live in 2 different countries. But Philippines has a foreign tax setup. So you only pay taxes in the Philippines. It's not residence-based. You only pay income taxes in the Philippines if you're literally physically selling goods, services, products to Filipinos locally. And if you're like me and all of your earnings are derived from literally all over the world and pretty much all outside of the Philippines because you have a digital service-based business, then I'm paying literally pretty much no taxes. If I did theoretically have a bunch of Filipino customers buying physical goods and services or services from me that are Filipino, I would have to probably consider paying some tax first to the US, and then I think it still just goes to the US because I'm a citizen of the US. So no matter what, I don't even think, because there's a tax treaty between the Philippines and the United States. But anyway, you can verify everything I've said. Pretty much everything I've said is 100% valid as of 2022, third quarter of 2022. Things change sometimes. You should always fact check me. But like 99% of the time, I'm very well researched on these subjects. I was gonna say most subjects, but these subjects I'm pretty well researched on, and I know what's what when it comes to this stuff. But that's the secret, my friend. That's how you get ahead in life in terms of saving money and living abroad and being able to travel the world. You don't necessarily have to become a YouTuber, but you can become any of these other things. There's so many. And I only listed like 6 options, if I remember correctly. And there's way more options than that. And in the future videos, I'm definitely going to share more of those options with you. And I do intend to at some point start a Business Basics 101 online business like class or course that's totally free, that I'm going to upload videos to YouTube, maybe 1 per week or maybe like every other day or something, however much I think I can produce. And the function and purpose of those videos are going to be like how to get skills where you can start making considerable sums of money from that skill completely digitally. Okay, so completely remotely with no fixed schedule. And whether that includes you being an employee of somewhere else or not, a lot of it's going to be more entrepreneurial, but the same skills I teach you, you can get a job, a very high paying job from somewhere else with the skills that I'm considering creating these content for to teach you about. Because there's definitely a lot of interest in these subjects, and yeah, so cool. If you like this video, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and notifications bell if you want to get more content from me. You rock. I'll catch you guys later on the next one. Bye for now.